The Philadelphia Eagles are landing a Super Bowl champion among their first moves following their playoff loss. The Eagles signed 17 players to futures contracts on Thursday, January 18th, and among the names was linebacker Terrell Lewis. Lewis is a former 2020 third-round draft selection of the Los Angeles Rams and won a Super Bowl at the conclusion of the 2021 season via Alabama's Markin Abennett. Players who sign reserve/future contracts overwhelmingly opt to stay with the NFL team that had them on the practice squad at the end of the season. But there are exceptions, and the Philadelphia Eagles signed two of them on Thursday when they added former Alabama linebacker Terrell Lewis and former UAB wide receiver Austin Watkins via reserve/future contracts. Terrell Lewis spent 3 seasons as Rams backup linebacker. The 25-year-old Lewis spent 3 seasons with the Rams. In 30 games and 7 starts, Lewis racked up 40 tackles, 6 sacks, and 10 quarterback hits. However, he was released prior to the conclusion of the 2022 season. Lewis then landed with the Chicago Bears practice squad before the end of the season. He ended the 2023 preseason as a member of the Bears' 53-man roster. However, Chicago was awarded 2 players off of waivers, leading to them letting Lewis go to create roster space. Lewis was on Chicago's 53-player active roster when the Bears reduced their preseason roster on August 28th to meet the NFL's regular season limit, wrote in Abennett. During the preseason, Lewis had recorded 3 sacks, including 2 that forced fumbles. But the day after the roster cuts, the Bears were awarded 2 players off waivers, and Lewis was one of the players let go by Chicago to create the roster space for the waiver claims. Shortly after, Lewis would land with the New Orleans Saints practice squad before he was released in the middle of the 2023 season. Eagles' lack of depth at linebacker could lead to roster spot for Terrell Lewis. While it's way too early to project what the Eagles roster will look like when training camp rolls around, Lewis has a viable chance of making the roster because of Philadelphia's lack of depth at the linebacker position. Lewis has experience playing at outside linebacker, and the Eagles have 4 linebackers projected to hit free agency: Shaq Leonard, Nicholas Morrow, Zach Cunningham, and Sean Bradley. Leonard and Morrow are the top 2 linebackers at middle linebacker, with Cunningham playing the entire season as the starting weak side linebacker. Philadelphia has had issues recently with filling out the linebacker position, signing street free agents Cunningham and Miles Jack during training camp prior to the 2023 season. While Jack ended up retiring shortly after, before making a comeback with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Cunningham exceeded expectations by starting 10 of his 13 appearances and posting 85 tackles, the 3rd highest total on the team. If Cunningham does depart, Philadelphia'd go with first-round pick Nolan Smith as the starting weak side linebacker while using Lewis, who appeared in 48% of the team's defensive snaps during the 2021 and 2022 seasons, could play a backup role. Again, the Eagles will make a lot more moves between now and the start of off-season team activities in May. But signing Lewis, an experienced linebacker with a Super Bowl on his resume, could be a valuable addition.